Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming on this Sunday. It's early. After here, I have another lecture in Kew Gardens. So by 8, I'll have to leave, but we're going to take advantage on the next hour or so. And also, if you have questions, now it's the time. You can ask me any question you have, in any topic you have. B'ezrat Hashem, I'll try to answer your question. I brought you some CDs here. You can take them before you leave. One of them is Torah and Science, a whole Jewish seminar. It's amazing. It was translated to 9 languages. Then there's a film we made about a year and a half ago. It became a sensational success, The Purpose of Life. It's made mamash in the level of Hollywood. Very nice pictures and music. It went all over the world, hundreds of thousands of views in different channels, and maybe millions already. So you don't want to miss it. It's very good. Then there's a DVD here, Life After Death. In case you have a doubt what's going to happen the day we die, if we continue to live or not. After watching this film, you will never ever have a doubt. It will be very clear to you, just like you know it's night outside. You will never have a doubt. Not only you will know that life begins in the time of death, you're going to see a lot of proofs and evidence from Jews and non-Jews who died, and they all describe the same thing. And then after you see all the scientific evidence, you see that everything was already in our Torah that was given to us 3,300 years ago. It leaves no doubt that it's all divine, it's all run by God. It's very interesting DVD CDs. And then if you want, I also bought you an MP3 CD that it's the 613 commandments that we have in the Torah. Each one, it explains why we have it, why God gave it to us, what's the purpose of it. The more you learn in life, the more things make sense. The less you know, nothing makes sense. Just like in medicine. You come to a doctor, you tell him, I have a headache. You check your leg, you see something swollen in the leg. So what does it have to do with my head? Nothing to do, the leg and the head. The doctor knows there's connection, infection, this, it causes fever. You're very hot. The doctor tells you it's because of something like that. So you know, what's the connection? An ignorant person doesn't see the connection between this and that. Specialists understand. Same thing in computers. You press a button, the computer does something, you have no idea what it is. In the end, the computer expert, he can tell you exactly where it belongs to. Somebody else doesn't make any sense. Everything in life is like this. The more you know, the more you understand. The more you understand, it's easier to function. If you ask yourself today, something has happened to the Jewish people in the world. Something has happened. What happened? Until about 220 years ago, almost all the Jewish people in the world were religious. Until 220 years ago, all over the world. In Europe, in the Arab countries, in Russia, Uzbekistan, Bukhara, Azerbaijan, Kafkaz, Persia, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Egypt, all the Jews were religious. It was almost impossible to find one that is not Shomer Shabbat. And here we are today, 220 years later, and it's exactly the opposite. Now, 20% maybe keeps, and 80% of the Jewish people in the world do not keep. The question, what happened? What happened in the last 200 years that twisted everything around? That until 200 years ago, it was very difficult to find unreligious people, and even those who were not religious will never dare to show it in the public. No one dared to violate Shabbat 300 years ago in the public, not in Morocco, not in any one of the countries. There was no such thing, secular court by the Jews. The rabbis were always the judges. Any problem, they went to the Beit Din. Nobody went to the Goyim, to the Muslims, or to the Christians. All the women dressed modestly. Everyone was eating kosher. The only meat you could get was from the rabbi, from the shochet. Life was very simple. Everyone knew that's the way it is. schools, there were only yeshivas. Jews never went to non-Jewish school. Every town, they had a Jewish school. In some countries, it stays like this until the end, like Syria. The Jews, they never went to Arab school. They always went to yeshiva until all the Syrian Jews left Syria. In Yemen, never in a history, for 2,500 years that Jews lived there, you never had one Jew that was not Shomer Shabbat. And millions of Yemenite Jews lived there. Now, almost all of them came to Israel. There's only 50 or 100 left there, that's it. Never in the history of Yemen you had one Jew that is not Shomer Shabbat. Never. Never one. Think about it. 2,500 years, millions of Jews. Now one of them was Mechalel Shabbat, ever in a history. In Yemen, if you want to go to the regular court of Yemen, they don't accept you as a Jew. They send you to the rabbi. You cannot break the tradition. I spoke to the Yemenites who came from Yemen to Monsey, to New York. They brought them here. I investigated them very well. They laugh when I ask them if anyone there broke Shabbat. They thought I'm crazy. Why are you there even to ask such a question? They do not know what happened to the Yemenite Jews in Israel when they came to Israel. 2 or 3 generations later, the majority, unfortunately, are not Shomer Shabbat. So the question is, nothing happened for nothing. Everything has a reason. What do you think is the reason that not only the majority of the Jews in the world don't keep mitzvot today, most of them live 100% like goyim, like non-Jews, and on top of it, the worst thing is that most of the Jews in the world, you take from all the secular Jews in the world, the Jewish nation has 13.2 million Jews. 13.2 million Jews all over the world. And 11 million of them approximately are not Shomer Mitzvot. They go to public school, they don't keep Shabbat, they eat whatever they want, they marry whoever they want. The question is, if you take these 11 million secular Jews and you ask them if they ever read the Jewish Torah once in their life from the beginning to the end, the answer is not even one of them read it. From 11 millions, not even one. Maybe they heard a little bit here and there, maybe they read a little bit for the bar mitzvah, but to learn it, to understand the meaning of every chapter in the Torah from the beginning to the end, I, in 23 years, did not find more than 5 people that actually read the Torah from the secular people. And who are those 5 people who were religious until a certain age? And then they followed their desires and left everything. So they were in yeshiva, they read the Torah, but most of the people, they never read it. Many of the Jews converted to different religions, either because they met a woman, or because she met a man, or she met an Arab and she married him and he forced her to convert to Islam, or Jews who converted to Christianity, or Jews for JC, all kinds of things like this that you hear about. The question that we have is, these Jews who actually left the religion, do they even know what they left? How can you leave something before you check what you have in your hand? Right? I give you an example. If somebody gave you today a lottery ticket, that tomorrow night they're going to publish the numbers, if it's going to win or not. Tomorrow, without checking the numbers, tomorrow 12 o'clock at night, would you give it to someone or no? Or you first want to check if you won or not? If you just take a bunch of cards that someone gave you and you give it out to people, that means you're not normal. You have a potential $200 million in your hands and you're giving them out. If you gave it, it's a sign you checked. If you didn't check and you give it, something about you is not right. Right? Makes sense or no? Now, many of the Jews, maybe they're not educated in Torah and they don't know what they left, but they do know one thing, that nobody gave humanity more than the Jewish nation. No one contributed to the world more than the Jews. The Jews are number one in science, they're number one in medicine, they're number one in law, they're number one in finance, they're number one in everything. Always it's been like that. They run the world, everything is around us, everyone speaks about this tiny piece of Israel, which is the size of Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, that's Israel. Think about it. All over the world, non-stop, everything is around the Jews. Clever person should have asked himself, we are not regular people. We're not just another nation. From 7.5 billion people, the 13.2 million people, everybody understands they are the most important. Everyone. Even Muhammad, the Arab, he called us the nation of the book. Christians, their entire religion comes from our Torah. They just made part 2, which is full of baloney. But where is the foundation come from? What they call the Old Testament. Without Judaism, there would not be any Christianity. 2 billion Christians celebrate whatever they celebrate. Without Jews, they will never have a beginning, bichlal. Their Messiah, or what they call the Son of God, was a Jew. 2 billion Christians bow down to one Jew every year. Think about it. The Arabs, same thing. Without the Torah, Arabs would know who Ibrahim is, who is Yaqub. They would know who is Ishmael. They would know about the tradition, b'chlal. They would know about the concept called prophet. They would know about the holy book. They would not know anything without us. Every civilization in the world is influenced by us, whether they like it or not. Without us, the world would still remain a zoo. The day that God gave us the book, we are different than 80,000 fake religions and cults who came later on. If somebody ever asks you what is the main difference between Judaism to all the fake religions that came after, the answer should be all the fake religions, include Christianity, include Islam, include Buddhism, include all these religions, they all started with the story of one person. Now one day came and claimed that he's a prophet and God gave him something. One day there was a woman in Christianity, her name was Miriam, she's a Jew. She got engaged and got married to Yosef the carpenter, another Jew. And then he went away, they did not move in together yet. He came back and he found out that she's pregnant. He asked her, what happened? Did you cheat on me? She said, of course not. This is God. He came to me and he made me pregnant. I'm still a virgin. This boy will be special. That's how Christianity started. Then the boy was born, JC. And that's how Christianity later on started between 70 to 300 years after he died. Somebody decided to make him holy, started to tell all kinds of fairy tales about him, and 2 billion people followed his nonsense, even though in every page in their book is human errors. Every page. Obviously it's not from God. God doesn't make such stupid mistake. In case you have a doubt, just watch the debate I had with a Christian professor for 3 hours. You have to be blind not to understand it's very obvious. Even Christians all admit the rabbi chopped him to pieces. Why? Not because he's a fool. The religion is foolish. I represented the original word of God and he represented nonsense. That's the difference. When you have a bad product, you can never win. You can take the best driver in the world to drive a lousy 1970 car and take the worst driver in the world to drive a Ferrari. Who's going to win the race? You don't need to be a great driver. All you have to do is to have a good product in your hand, and I had the best product in history. So even mute, I would win the debate. Just showing the mistakes in his book, that's enough. For instance, it says in Christianity that the cave of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov is in the city of Shechem, Nablus. When every fool knows it's in Hebron, it's always been in Hebron. There's thousands of history books who talk about people who go to Hebron, Jews and Arabs, to go to pray over there. And all of a sudden in the New Testament it said that it's in Shechem. God doesn't know where Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov is buried. How can we follow a book that's supposed to be part 2 of the same God, and all of a sudden he forgot where Abraham is buried, after half of the Torah is full about stories about Abraham. How he bought the cave, how he buried Sarah over there. All of a sudden in the New Testament, he became, from Brooklyn, he went to Texas. Imagine now somebody gives you a book, the Twin Towers collapse in Texas. And he claimed that God gave him the book. How long it will take you to prove that this book is baloney? 1 second. As soon as he says to you the Twin Towers collapse in Texas or in Brooklyn, then you know it's not from God. God doesn't make such stupid mistakes. And there are thousands of mistakes like this in Christianity. Let's not waste time on them. Islam, same story. According to Islam, the uncle of JC is Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe and Aaron, even though they lived 1300 years before JC was born. Miriam, they mix between two Miriam. Miriam, the sister of Moshe and Aaron, Miriam Anevia, she lived 3400 years ago. And Miriam, the mother of JC, lived 2000 years ago. So in the Quran, they made a mistake. They took two different Miriams and turned them into one. Somehow, JC got very righteous uncles. Moshe and Aaron. No, this is a book from God. This is a joke. According to the Quran, you know, it's very interesting that the price that God gives the murderers is 72 women in the next world. After the Torah spoke very much about modesty and about all kinds of things, all of a sudden something happened to God. He forgot about all the things he says in the Torah. Now he say, if you want to go to heaven, you have to murder my children, the chosen nation, that I made a covenant with them, the Jews, that I will never replace them with any other nation. And it says in the Torah, those who bless the Jews will be blessed, those who curse them will be cursed. And all of a sudden, according to the Arabs, it's mitzvah to kill the children of God, and the more you kill, the faster you go to heaven. And what will happen in heaven? Everything that God hates. It's totally insane. All you have to be is a little bit clever to understand how can it be. Then the Arabs claim that God left the Jews after the sin of the golden calf. You don't need to be a genius to see in the Torah that 40 years after, he took care of them, he gave them man, they won the war, they went to Israel. So many miracles happened to the Jews after the sin of the golden calf. So when you ask the Arabs, you see 40 years, God continued to do miracles for the Jews in the desert after the golden calf. Of course, they don't have an answer. There are many, many other mistakes over there in the Quran. We don't want to waste time. Just to give you one more example. According to the Quran, Haman and Pharaoh had a meeting. How to stop the God of the Jews. So Pharaoh said to Haman, build me a tower that I can go all the way up to the sky and fight God. The God of the Jews. Very nice story. It's very good for kindergarten. But there's also one problem in this story. Haman and Pharaoh, could they ever meet each other? Haman was almost 1,000 years after Pharaoh died, the last Pharaoh. So they took part from the Torah and part from Megillat Esther, which was almost 1,000 years later. They made a fake story. All of a sudden, two wicked people, Haman and Pharaoh, had a meeting. And I want to go and fight against the God of the Jews. There's only one problem. They could never see each other because Haman was 1,000 years later in history. Maybe they met in Gehenom, yes. But in reality, they never met. Here is an example how you know in less year. It took me 5 minutes to show you, if you're clever, that Christianity and Islam can never be the word of God. Look how much the world is suffering from these two religions. Christian inquisitions, millions of people were burned, tortured in the Christian churches. Their missionaries brainwash people all over the world. Tons of nonsense, pedophiles, all kinds of sex scandals all over the churches. They own half of America. So much corruption. Everything from what? From a story of a woman who cheated on her husband, became pregnant. She needed to cover it. So she made a story that God made her pregnant. And from here, you see all this nonsense. Muhammad, he was very old man, married little girls, 9 years old. He could be their grand-grandfather, 4th generation already. Married little girls. If you read the nonsense, first of all, he admits in the Quran that he could not read and write. Second, the Torah already said that after the destruction of the second temple, there will never be more prophets. Not Jews and definitely not Goyim. So how can it be that 600 years later, all of a sudden, Muhammad became a prophet? Why from all the people in the world, there were thousands of righteous big rabbis 1400 years ago, in the world, many holy people. Why would God come to a non-Jew that is totally ignorant? He doesn't even know how to read and write, and is a murderer. Why would it take somebody like this to be a prophet? On top of that, why will he give him, according to them, prophecies that contradict the Torah? It cannot be. God knows what he's doing. He cannot say something and then tell them to do the opposite. Doesn't make any sense. In the Quran, Jerusalem is not mentioned even once. Nothing. It was never holy for them. Never. All of a sudden today, Jerusalem. Palestinians. Here is another Muslim scam. Do you think there was ever a nation called Palestinians? Do you have any record in the United Nations of a nation called Palestine? Never. The Arabs, they've never been Palestinian. They never had an army. They never had a government. They never had an anthem. They never had a currency. They never had anything. It's very interesting that the first Palestinian leader in history is Yasser Arafat, the mass murderer. Until 30 years ago, they didn't have any prime minister. They don't have any history books. Nothing whatsoever. It's a bunch of Arabs from Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, Egypt. All of a sudden, the Arab world in 1947 decided to create a new nation, Palestinians. And the world knows it's a scam, but the world is always against the Jews, which is very good. Why it's good? Because it's a part of the plan. The Torah already said to the Jews, you will be isolated from all the nations and they're all going to be after you. But in the end, every one of them will pay the price. I will get revenge for all the tortures and the sufferings that they gave you throughout history. It's all prophecies. When the Messiah would come, they will all pay the price. There's some righteous Gentiles. They are going to be saved. They're going to get reward for being good. But all the other ones will pay massive price for all the tortures that they gave the Jewish children of God. We don't care so much about this. This was only an introduction for you to understand how do we know if a religion is divine or not. That's all we care about. Why it's important to know. If I cannot prove that our Torah is the word of God, it's going to be very difficult to follow it, especially it's not so easy to follow all the instructions, not knowing 1,000,000% that I'm listening to my Creator. And the reward that He promised me in the Torah when I die to my soul is really going to happen. I don't want to invest 78 years of my life and in the end find out it was all baloney. Right? Makes sense or no? The truth is that a clever person, even on a 1% chance, will not take the risk. I'll give you an example. When you open the Torah, this is what the Torah says 12 times, more than anything else. The Torah says, God created the world in 6 days. In the 7th day He rested. He did not create anything. It's a special holy day for the souls, not for the bodies. And the 7th day I rested. I want you to be like me. You, the Jewish children, I make today a covenant with you, an eternal covenant, for the whole world to know that you represent me. It's all clear verses in the Torah. The same way I did not create anything, in the 7 days, you, the Jewish people, will never create anything on the 7th day. Not fire, not energy, you don't sow, you don't write. None of these things which I did not do. You don't create. You can work very hard. You can pick up tables, bring it to the upstairs, downstairs, bring up boxes of food in and out. No problem. That's no problem to work hard. You're not allowed to create. Any new creation, you're not allowed to create. That's what I want you to do. And that's how it's written in the Torah. And the nation of Israel observed the Sabbath to make it a special holy day. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. To make it for generations an eternal covenant. You know what it means, eternal covenant, for eternity. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. Between me and the nation of Israel, it's a sign for eternity. That I created the world in 6 days, and in the 7th day I rested. And right after that it says, those Jews that will keep it, I will reward them endlessly. And those who will break it, I will severely punish them. Why? מחלליה מות יומת. Those Jews who will behave on a Sabbath like a regular day, meaning driving, cooking, turning fire on, and today in our time electric, light bulbs, sewing, typing on a computer, writing, whatever they do normally in the 6 days, and they will dare to behave in the 7 days regularly like it's not holy for them, they breaking the covenant with me. As results of that, they're going to die younger in this life, but the main punishment is that in the next eternal world, they will lose their share to the world to come. ונכרתה הנפש ההיא מישראל. I'm going to cut that soul out of my nation permanently. There's nothing can describe in words, the horror of the punishment of the Jews that will not keep Shabbat. Now, a normal Jew, when he reads it in the Torah that millions of people believe is the word of God, even Goyim, Muslims believe, Christians believe, many of the Jews believe, if he knows there is 1% chance that this is really what God said to the Jewish nation, and he knows he's a part of it, out of fear, if he's normal, out of fear, if he gave me now this water, and I had 1% suspicion that there are poison in this water that I may die, 1%, will I drink it? What happens if you give me $1,000 now cash? Drink it, Rabbi. Here. No, I will get rid of you faster. Yalla, drink it. Say, no. 10,000 I give you. No, 100,000. No, I'm still afraid. There's 1 to 100 to die, no? One person say, he went to make a sin. So the girl told him, don't worry, the pills is protecting me from pregnancy 99%. So he said to me, oh, she's crazy. That means I'm going to be her boyfriend. That means for sure I'm going to make her pregnant. I'm going to live with her now 1 year. I'll be with her 100 times. At least one of the times she'll be pregnant. No? If not now, next month. If not now, next month. If it's 1 to 1, if it's only 99% protection, it's not a protection. It's stupid. But people are dumb. They gamble. But a smart person will not take the risk. Well, I'm going to be stuck with her paying her child support for the next 40 years. Right or wrong? So based on a 1% chance, if you're smart, you will never take the risk. But I'm going to make it a lot easier for you. I will make the 1% 100%. Clear. That is 100% the word of God. One thing I cannot do is to do it for you. I cannot put a gun to your head and force you to keep Shabbat. We're going to finish in 1 hour. I will go on my way and you go on your way. What you're going to do, it's your choice. Nobody can force you. But you will never have the ability to keep it without knowing what it is. Ignorance is the biggest enemy of the human being. Remember this. In ignorance, you're paying massive price. If you don't know computers, you can burn hours every day. You don't know. Imagine if you don't know how to send emails to 1,000 people in one shot. That means you're going to have to type it 1,000 times and press send. So instead of 20 minutes, it will take you 20 hours. That's ignorance. Ignorance means that doctor forgot to tell you that if you take this medicine together with the other one, God forbid you can get a heart attack. Together they're very dangerous. Make sure you wait a day between. He forgot to tell you. Since you didn't know, you took them together, you got a heart attack, you lost your business, you lost your health. Everything you built in 4 years went down the tube. Why? One little tiny ignorance. You didn't know about these two things and messed up your life. Ignorance is a very big danger. Now, with all due respect to heart attack and to business and to money, everybody has to agree with me that if you are ignorant about the purpose of your life, you know somebody created you, you know somebody created this amazing world, you see there is law of nature, someone organized everything, raw material, oxygen, water, stomach, heart, eyes, brain, nerve system, intelligence, body and soul, everybody understands it. I promise you one thing, there is now one atheist in the whole world and in history. They're all liars. You don't believe me? Bring them to me, I'll connect them to a lie detector. If one of them will be proven that he really doesn't believe in God, I'll give you whatever you want. They're all liars. When they get cancer, the doctor call, oh my God, no, why? When the IRS call, oh my God, but a minute ago he just gave a speech against God. It's all baloney. Why people like to deny that they believe in God? They may not want to call it God, or they want to call it in a different name. I can care less. You call it whatever you want. Every normal human being knows the world has a creator. You know how I know? Why am I so confident? Because if I told you that I'm willing to swear on my life, there's not one person in the world that thinks that this bottle was made by a random explosion. This bottle costs 1 cent. I'm willing to swear on my life and my children's life, there's not one human being in the world that by asking him connected to a lie detector, do you think this bottle was made by a random explosion? He will say yes. Right? You agree with me or no? Any one of you think there's a chance that this bottle was made by a random explosion in a garbage can? And look how the lines are symmetric, and the sticker and the letters and everything is matching, beautiful, and there's a ring over here and the bottom has all kinds of lines. Do you think it was made by itself or no? It's only 1 cent. Anyone here? No, I want to hear. Everyone agree, right? So if this can never ever be created by itself, do you know a brain of a human being, what it is? It's billions of computers combined cannot reach the intelligence of one brain. The brain of a human being the size of this apple, here, this is the size of the brain. This, right here, has more connection than all the telecommunication companies and wires and cell phones in the entire world. A brain of one dumb person. It's already more sophisticated than all the networks in the entire world. 10 trillion connections. And 80% of that is gel, liquid. So now if we cut 80% out, it leaves us with something even smaller than this. That's the human being. That's Albert Einstein. That's all the knowledge. That's all the memory, the thinking, the feelings. Everything is in here. The nerve system, the muscle, the ligaments. Amazing. The ability to create life, man and woman. All is in this little tiny thing. And you know how the wires of the brain are? Take one hair from your head, pull out one hair, try to look at that in the sun. Can you see something? You cannot see, right? It's very thin. Take one hair out, stand like this in a day. Can you see it? Very difficult to see it. Why? It's very thin. This hair is 1,000 wires of your brain combined. That's how thick the hair compared to the wires of the brain. Meaning if you take 1,000 wires inside the brain together, it's one hair. And they all are in such a sophisticated way inside this gel, size of an apple, all inside that if you cut one wire from the 10 trillion connection, you become paralyzed, you can die, you can have a stroke, it can be chas v'shalom millions of other symptoms. One wire out of 10 trillion and you're done. That's it. Something like this can be created by itself? This cannot be created by itself. But the professor in Harvard and Yale and Columbia somehow writing books that the whole world was created by a random explosion. Do you really believe that they believe in it? Of course not. So why everyone sell us this nonsense? Why? It's much, much easier to deny it. When you come to a person, you say to him, were you a witness in a murder yesterday? He doesn't want headache, so what does he say? I wasn't there. He could say, yeah, I was there, but I didn't see. But that's going to bring a lot of attack. What do you mean you didn't see? You were there, try to remember, we don't believe you, you probably don't want to testify, right? What's the easiest way out? I wasn't there, leave me alone. So when you come to a person, do you believe in God? You already know where you're heading to. If he's going to say yes, right away, the next thing will be, so why ignore his instructions? Why you don't listen to his instructions in a book? So in order for you to prevent it, you say, I don't. Leave me alone. You understand? But everybody knows. Same thing, you know, the brain was made, cannot be made by itself. The world cannot be made by itself. You also know someone made you. The question is now, this someone that made you, without going into religion, do you think he made you for a reason or no? What do you think? Let's use our common sense. Let's do a smart investigation in our head. Do you think the creator of the world made the world for a reason or because he was bored? What do you think? For a reason, right? Did you ever see a product in the history that was made by anyone here in China, in Japan, in any country? Did you ever, can you point from billions and billions of products that are made every year? Can you name one in a history that was made for no purpose? One. This cup was made for a purpose or no? Right. This tender has a purpose, right? To put books. This table, this light bulb, this tablecloth, the table, everything, this fork, everything has a purpose. Now what comes first? The will of the creator or the purpose? What do you think? What comes first? First is the will. I want something. I want light. It's dark here. I want to be able to see like I see during the day. So now I'm thinking, how will I be able to create a device that will make the room with light that I have during the day, right? Now comes the planning. How will I do something that gives me light? That's the second step. After I finally had a plan, now I come into the actual creation. I take glass, I take wires, whatever I need. And I create the light bulb. Now once I created the light bulb, then I write a manual. The light bulb was made to give light. So now the question is, what's the purpose of the light bulb? The answer, to create light. That's it. Is it possible to say the light bulb was made randomly, for no reason? We will never know why. If you're dumb, yes. If you're a little bit clever, you know. You see light bulb, you know what was the purpose of the creator, right? Okay, now, when you look at 2 million species in nature, 2 million different kinds of animals, there is one species that's called the human being. We are also animals. We're not different than the monkeys. 99.something% same DNA. Maybe we're less hairy. Maybe we don't jump as much. But everybody understands that we are completely different than the 2 million different kinds of animals. They may have much better advantages than us. They can fly, they can jump, they can do a lot of things that we cannot do. But everybody understands who is in charge of nature? Human being or any one of the 2 million animals? The human being. He used them for leather, for wool, for, to create all kinds of things from their skin. A man can lock them, can put them in cages, can kill them, can do all kinds of things with them, can mix them together to create new species. We are in charge. The lion is much stronger than me, but I'm much more clever than him. In 2 minutes I can hunt him. Put anesthesia, shoot him, he fall asleep, and I do whatever I want with him. I can hunt him in many ways. He can never understand where it comes from, by putting nets, all kinds of things. Can give him a bait. They're not clever enough to resist the human race. We control nature. Raw material was made for us. Rocks, wood, everything, water, everything was made for me. When I analyze the world, I see that the creator of the world made everything for me. And he put me over here. And I also see one major difference between me and the animals. What is it? That all the animals live by instinct. Fire, they run away. Water, they jump in. Food, they attack. We will always know how they will behave. I know that once I put raw meat in front of a lion, I know what's going to happen. I cannot say to the lion, wait 20 minutes, after 2 start eating your lunch. There's no such thing. That you can tell your employee. Right now you're working, wait till 2, and 2 o'clock you're allowed to eat. You get the point. Even though he wants to attack now, but he can control his desires. But animals, you cannot talk to them. So we see that we are different than the animals. One of the major difference is the spirituality. We have a soul. Our intelligence, our level of communication, our feelings, our values is different than the animals. For instance, in a secular atheist world, if Reuven killed Shimon in a kibbutz in Israel, when they're all anti-God, or in communist Russia, Vladimir killed Alex, they're both atheists. What will happen to Vladimir? Either death penalty or jail for the rest of his life. If the lion killed a zebra in Russia or in the kibbutz, what will happen to the lion? Nothing. It's nature. He needs to eat. What do you want from him? You put the zebra, you didn't put a fence. It's your fault. Anyone will prosecute the lion? No. Why? Because we all understand that animals live by instinct. That's why there's no point of having jails and courtrooms. Nobody ever prosecuted a leopard for attacking a cat. But once a person does it, everybody go crazy. How could he have done such a thing? Because our values are spiritual values with or without religion. If a person beat up his mother on the street, you don't need to be religious to know it's the end of the world. Right? Even non-religious people understand that's something outrageous. When a person steals from another, everyone hates it, even the thieves. The professional thieves, when they see another thief steal from someone, they get angry. Look at this low life. People that speak gossip all day and murder people with their tongue, when they hear someone else does it, they get angry. A rapist ate other rapists. A murderer ate other murderers, unless if he's Muslim. Then it's for the cause. But other than that, for personal reasons, why? You didn't have to kill him. It's not fair. Why? Because we know what's the truth here. Of course, now we have the Torah, and God told us what to do and not to do, and there is reward and punishment. Now I know why many of you say, okay, everything you say makes sense, but leave me alone. I want to continue with my lifestyle. I'm used to it. I don't plan to change. Why you don't plan to change? There are a few reasons for it. One, it's difficult to change. Even for the better, even upgrade, it's difficult. You make $100,000 as a lawyer, they're offering you 140 in another firm. Not everyone will move. They got used to the receptionist, to the coffee machine, to the parking, subways 1 block away. I like the boss. I don't want to start with all the headache, moving and getting used to the employees over there. Who knows how the boss is going to be? There's a lot of maybe. Even it's an upgrade. I don't want to take a risk. Even promotion in a job. You know how many times people ask me, should I take it or not? Why not? You're going to make a lot more. But maybe this, maybe that. Even an upgrade like this scares people, not to talk about downgrade. Now, all the secular people, they think that if I will become a religious person, that's a major downgrade in my life. The answer, you are all wrong. It's not downgrade, it's a major upgrade. It just takes some time to see it. That's the only difference. That's one thing. So it's difficult to change, as it is. Second problem is, you may not be convinced that there is such a thing, reward and punishment. Why? Because it's very difficult to see it. I'll give you an example. You hear on the news, Rabbi such and such died from cancer age 60. Then you see Nazis, name such and such, is hiding in Argentina, is 95 years old. So you ask yourself, where is the justice? The rabbi that learned Torah and did a lot of good things in his life for people, died 60 from cancer, suffer, horrible life. And this Nazi made millions, killed million people, escaped to Argentina and lived like a king in a false identity. So where is God? Children that die, children that are sick in a hospital, Arab terrorists who make millions like Bin Laden and many others, Saddam Hussein. It makes people wonder, where is the divine justice that the Torah is talking about, right? So why should I become religious if I don't know for sure if I'm going to get the reward? Also, the punishment aspect not always work. Here, you are breaking Shabbat already 20, 30, 40 years of your life. Baruch Hashem, you're all alive. And Bezrat Hashem also healthy. And you're thinking, I can go another 30 years like this. This rabbi doesn't know what he's talking about. Here you go, I'm doing it. I'm making money, business is booming, I got married, I have children, I'm healthy, I'm doing whatever I want, I'm in control. What is he telling me stories that Mechalel Shabbat will die young and would lose his share to the world to come? First, it didn't happen to me. It doesn't happen to most of my friends. And to the one or two that it happened, that's nature. It's random. There's no proof that it's from God. Third, anyone came from the next world to testify that he went to heaven? Anyone came from the next world to say that he went to hell? Due to these questions, leave me alone. No matter how clever is your book, keep me out of it. Right? That's the reasons or no? So let's address one by one. What is the reason that God doesn't punish or reward people instantly? Let's assume that it would be right away. God say, do not create fire on the Sabbath. A person would take a cigarette for the first time in history. After God gave us the Torah in a public event in front of millions of people, I started to explain what's the main difference between Judaism to 80,000 fake religions and cults. That they all started with the story of one person, and we the Jews received the Torah from God in a public event in front of millions of people. It's a major difference. Everyone can tell a story. There's not one witness to his story. Add all the mistakes that they have in their book, it leaves no doubt that it's not from God. But it started in a public event. You cannot fake such a public event. You cannot write in a book that God and Moshe spoke and the whole nation heard, and the nation are reading it now. They would say to Moshe, what is this baloney? It says here in the book you just gave us that all of us heard you speaking to God. We never heard you. You telling us that God gave you this book and the book is full of mistakes? The fact that everyone agreed to accept it and they read inside the book that a few minutes ago they all heard Moshe speaking to God, that means it really happened. When they read in a book that they just came out of Egypt, the ocean split, they went through and the Egyptian drowned. If it didn't happen, they would refuse to accept the Torah. They will tell Moshe, you're full of baloney. What is this nonsense? We were not in Egypt. We were not slave. Egypt did not become blood. Every firstborn in Egypt did not die. We did not go through the Red Sea. The Egyptians did not drown. We don't have bread falling from heaven. All these things that is written in a book that happened to us never did. Never happened to us. What are you telling us stories? Do you think Moshe was dumb to come to millions of people and give them a book and say, God gave me the book, and they would read all kinds of fairy tales in a book that never happened to them? How long it would take until they'll kill Moshe? You came to ruin our life with stories like this? You want us to lose money, you want us to give donation, you told us not to marry to this woman, not to marry to this, you have to do this, you have to do this. You messed up our life. They'll kill him right away. You would not even know there was such a person named Moshe. Nobody would know. They'll kill him right away. Due to the fact they gave him such hard time for the next 40 years, they were very lenient accepting the Torah, and they say, Na'aseh v'nishma, everything God said, we're going to listen. So going back to what I started to explain, if the reward and punishment will be instant, meaning a person take a cigarette for the first time after Moshe gave the Torah, and he put it in his mouth and light a match or whatever and explode to million pieces, and he died. People would say, coincidence, accident. Then another person would light a cigarette, explosion, and he would die right away, like the Torah says. Do you know of anybody else that will ever light fire from then until the end of days? Show me one Jew that will dare to light fire on Shabbat after two tried and explode to thousands of pieces. Right away the rumor will go everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, signs everywhere. Do not create fire on Shabbat because you're going to explode to million pieces. From then on, everyone will be Shomer Shabbat. No one will dare to mess with the book. Why? You die right away. What happens if a person steals and a minute later he lost double? He just stole $1,000. Before he even escaped, he just found out $2,000 he lost. He made another one, he stole again, he lost again double. After once or twice, nobody would steal. What would happen if a person just gave a donation to the yeshiva and a minute later he made double? He gave $1,000 to the rabbi, a minute later he just made 2,000. He gave another 1,000, a minute later he made 2,000. He gave 1,000,000, he made 2,000,000. What would happen? Everyone will give donation from morning to night. Nobody will go to work. What are you doing? Why should I go to work? Look, Rabbi, here, put your hand. Here is $1 million. Check in my account, 2 million. Here is another million. Here, 2 million. Who would go to work? The world will not be able to run. So what did God do? He said, this is my Torah, this is my promises. You want to believe me? Fine, that's called faith. In the end, everything I said will happen. For good and for bad. You trust me, fine. You don't trust me, you pay the price. And he mixes it on purpose to create a test. In case you're still not convinced, there is a clear verse in the Torah. I'm strict with you. I'm testing you to see what's in your heart. Will you keep my mitzvot or not? Are you going to keep my commandments or not? In another place it says, I am testing you. I am even torturing you. Why? To see, do you love me or not? Are you with me or you're not with me? What does it say right after that? To reward you in your end. When you finish your test, I will reward you. When do you finish the test? When you die. Now you may say, okay, how do I know when I die the rewards start? The answer, the Torah say, God created Adam, sent from the ground. And he blew a living divine soul into his nostril. And Adam became alive. The soul that went in made him alive. The body is dead all the time. The body is like a suit on my body. I move, my suit moves with me. The suit is not alive, everybody understand. So the body is the cover of the soul. The soul moves the body, the voice is the soul, everything is the soul. The vision, the memory, feelings, it's all the soul. Once the soul goes out of the body goes right back to the ground and it's worthless. It's worth $2 in a chemical lab. The body of a human being. Mineral, iron, water, some oxygen, nothing. So now, the Torah say, what does it mean to die? The Torah say, and the soul of Rachel, our mother, came out, Vatamot Rachel. Soul of Rachel came out from her body. It's written, clear verse. You don't need to be a scientist. The Torah saying, the soul of Rachel came out, Vatamot Rachel, and Rachel died. In another part of the Tanakh, in the book of Kohelet, it says, והנשמה תשוב לבעליה כי הוא נתנה, והגוף יושב לעפר כי ממנו לוקח. Translation, and the soul will return to the master that gave it, and the body will return to the ground, that's where it came from. Sometimes people, they want to save money on a grave. Grave, it's real estate. Became expensive. So they want to save money, so they burn their parents and they put them in a jar on a shelf. But very cheap. Incrimination, discriminating. The only problem is that the Torah said that when you do it, the soul of that father or mother will never have rest, ever. They'll suffer forever. Why? They must go back to the ground. The body must go back to the ground. It's written in the Torah. And must go back to the ground, also by the Goyim. And every wise guy who throw it to the fish, to the ocean, or freeze the body, or do all kinds of stupid things that some people do, is only because of ignorance. I'm sure that they don't mean to hurt their parents and to make their soul suffer forever. I'm sure they don't do it. But ignorance is the biggest enemy. Now, because of their ignorance, or because they wanted to save $5,000 on a grave, their father or mother will suffer forever and ever. That's reality. But Rabbi, it's not fair, he didn't know. Right? It's not fair, he didn't know. Baloney. If you drink Diet Coke and you didn't know that all these chemicals that are written on the ingredients are all making cancer, you didn't know. It still causes cancer. You drank something with poison inside, you didn't know. You thought it's water and it was bleach. You didn't know. You're dead. You don't know, you know. Reality does not change. Your job is to know. That's why God said, mitzvah for every Jew to learn Torah. Daily. Just like when you eat, just like when you need to sleep. It's an obligation to learn my book. Why? The more you learn, the more righteous you be. The less you learn, the more wicked you will be. And I'm haaretz Hasid. You cannot be ignorant and be righteous. Can I be a good doctor without learning medicine? Is it possible? What, I'm going to make experiments on my patients and kill 500 of them until I save the life of one? That's a good doctor? No. Mechanic that never learned how to fix cars, can he be a good mechanic? Engineers that never went to learn blueprints and all these things, can he be a good architect? Of course he cannot. Can you be a good kosher Jew and fulfill your purpose in life without learning Torah? Of course not. So let me ask you, how come when it comes to nonsense, people are more willing to listen? Sport, give me the info. Business, give me the info. Food, give me the info. Politics, give me the info. Torah, don't bother me. I don't want fanatic, it's scary, Iran, primitive, I don't want to look like you, I don't want all these things, it's costing money, I don't want my children to be like that. That's the way people react. Why is it? The answer is, because to hear sport, there's no evil inclination against it that resist. To hear politics, it's not a mitzvah, no problem. Everything that is a mitzvah, meaning an obligation, there is the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination that God made to make it hard for us. Why? What's the point of making it hard? If it won't be hard, what do you want to get a reward for? The whole idea in this world, I'm testing you. How do you test a person? If I go to the gym, when will it be a test for me? If you give me 1 pound weight, or if they give me 20 pounds? 1 pound, what is a 1 pound? Here, this is 1 pound. Can go like this until tomorrow. Nothing, right? No problem. But if it's 20 pound already, then the muscles working hard and they're building themselves. The test has to have some kind of a difficulty. Not every person gets the same test in life. Some people have much harder tests than others. Some people suffer more. Some people have challenges with their children. Some are not married. Some, all kinds of things. Everyone has a design test for him or for her. But there is a general test for everyone. To keep Shabbat, every Jew is obligated. To give donations from your income, everyone is obligated. To learn Torah, everyone is obligated. To eat kosher, everyone is obligated. To be a rabbi, not everyone is obligated. You can be a kosher butcher. You can be a doctor. It's no problem. You can be a teacher. Not everyone has the same unique purpose. One guy is smart, one guy is not so smart, one guy is rich, one guy is poor. One guy is pretty, handsome, one person is ugly. That's also changed the test. He has test with women, he doesn't have such a test with women. It's not the same. So there is a unique test. I'm speaking about this in my lectures. It's all a matter of reincarnations, that the soul is going from one body to another. I didn't come to confuse you here too much. I just want to lay the basics here. Let's conclude so far what we say. The Torah was given to us in front of millions of witnesses. No one could have faked such an event. The entire Jewish nation, millions of them, accepted the Torah until 200 years ago. They kept it. Almost all the Jews in the world, all over the world, in different exiles, without communication, without telephones, without FedEx, without radio and television and internet. Jews all over the world united together in Israel. In the last 100 years, different color of skin, different clothing, different food. One thing was the same. Same Torah, same Tefillin, same Brit Milah, same Shabbat, same mezuzah, same everything. Without connection. Beautiful. All Jews in the world, Brit Milah in the 8th day. All Jews in the world, black Tefillin. All Jews in the world, Torah with 305,000 letters. 304, 805 letters. Same Torah, not like the Christian. 200,000 different New Testament. Hundreds of different Qurans. No. One Torah. Although everyone tried to destroy the Torah and kill the Jews are the only nation who kept their divine book original all over the world, although it was an impossible mission. That's very interesting. Not only that, slaughtering, kosher, not kosher, salt, checking the lungs, same thing all over the world. Went from father to son, matzah, same Passover, same Sukkot, same lulav, same etrog, same everything. What else do you need to see? That a man, first of all, you should know, if you look at the Torah, as you can see right here, I brought you a CD, MP3, 30 hours, 613 commandments. By listening to it, you'll be amazed. You know why you'll be amazed? Because you will see that approximately about 80% of the commandments not only do not make sense in human logic, they're actually against human logic. Why it's so interesting? Because that's an indication that a human being never made those commandments. Because if a faker would make laws, he will make sure all the laws make sense, logical, and everyone welcoming the commandments. He will not make 80% of his laws against human logic that people will rebel against him and fight him and ask millions of questions. What for? If I want to be a faker and I want to give a book and I want to make laws, what laws will I make? You should not kill. Everybody agree. You should not steal. Everybody agree. Respect your parents. Everyone agree. Right? But why would I say 1 week a year you're not allowed to eat 5 kinds of grains? What did I gain by that? People will get angry. What, I cannot bring whiskey, beer, spaghetti for 1 week every year? What do you gain by that? Where is the logic? Why will I have to hold lulav and etrog look like lemon and go like this? It doesn't make any sense. Why will I have to sacrifice goats and sheep? What does it give me in life? Why do I have to do all these strange things? Why wouldn't I eat meat and dairy together? What do I care? Eat cheeseburger, this, that's it. What do I care what you eat? What is it my business? Do I get anything what you eat in your home? Why all these things that doesn't make any sense? I give you one example. There is a mitzvah in the Torah. If you see a bird in a nest, you make the mother fly away, and then you take the chicks or the eggs and you put them away. And for that you're going to live long life in this world and in the next world. It's a very big reward. Every fool understands that this is pure cruelty. To get rid of the mother and take the babies away, it's cruelty. Especially when the Torah already say a few times, you have to be extra cautious. Not to torture animals. You got to feed them before your own children and yourself. You cannot torture them. And you cannot make them disappear. You cannot do a lot of things. And when it comes to animals, the Torah is very sensitive to the animal rights. All of a sudden, when it comes to this bird, out of nowhere, The Torah say, get rid of the mother, make sure the mother flies away, take the chicks, the eggs, put them somewhere to die, and that's a very big mitzvah. Give me one human being that will, even in his imagination, will think to make such a law in a book, claiming God gave it to him. What person will make such a strange law? Does he get anything from it? None. He will only get opposition. People will hate him for that. People will fight him for that. He doesn't get any money for it. He doesn't get any honor for it. If any, he shoot himself in the leg. A person will never make such a strange law. A person will not make 80% of the laws of the Torah. Some of the laws of the Torah are required by common sense. Like I said, you should not kill, you should... All these things make sense. But a lot of the things the Torah say, we cannot understand in human logic. Which brings us to only one conclusion, that a person never designed it. Because when a person designs laws, it's either something logical or something that he gained profit from. For instance, if a faker made a law that the king can have 20 women, that's something he wanted for himself, so he made a law. The Prime Minister of Israel, he wants a special jet now, with bedroom and jacuzzi and everything. So Israel is going to spend now $500 million, or I don't know how much, to design a special plane for him. Oh, of course, he wants to have great comfortable life when he flies, right? He doesn't want to sit in business class, it's not good enough. So he wants jacuzzi, he wants whiskey, he wants stereo system, he wants special bed, no problem, I understand. He wants it for himself. But Moshe Rabbeinu that gave us the Torah, what did he gain? What did he gain by killing millions of goats and sheep, sacrifices? What did he gain? At least give me. Why are you burning it and it's all go to a waste? What did he gain by writing in a book that he's stuttering? That he got punished, he did not enter the land. God punished him. In a history, he wrote about himself in a book that he got punished, no matter how much he begged God, he did not let him enter the land. Did you ever see one bad word against Muhammad in the Quran? Or in Islam? What happened if somebody hint something negative about Muhammad? What happened the next day? Everybody knows the answer. Did you ever see a bad word against JC in Christianity? Did you ever see a bad word against Buddha in Buddhism? Did you ever see a bad word against Krishna in Hare Krishna cult? Did you ever see in any cult that they say something against their leader? Did you ever see such thing? Did you ever see a Chabadnik that will dare to say one bad word about the Lubavitcher Rebbe? Never. Why? Everyone admired their leader. Moshe Rabbeinu writing a book. What does the book say? He did not enter Israel. He got punished. Hashem got angry at him. Hashem told him, your children will not inherit you. Yoshua, your student, is better than them. He will be. A lot of the things that no one will put in a book. Why? Because that's what God told him to write. So far, any questions about anything we spoke about or what we didn't speak about?
I have one question. A couple of months ago, you wanted to get up? A couple of months ago, I lost my dad in Israel and he was buried in a wall. And I was very surprised.
They buried him in a wall?
Yeah.
Not good. He needs to go to the ground.
Yeah, but why is that even allowed?
First of all, it's cheaper. They bury people like in droves, right? They bury them. They come with all kinds of solutions that will be cheaper than cemeteries. Because the cheapest grave today, it's $4,000 and up. Plus the arrangements and the whole funeral. People try to save, they come with all kinds of creative ideas. The only problem is that it all comes from ignorance. If all the people in the world, Jews and non-Jews, would know that the body must go back to the ground, the original ground, then nobody will ever make all these foolish ideas. So now it's not too late. You can still organize a funeral,
Really?
of course, and you take the body from where they put it, in a wall, and bury it in a grave. That's the right way. You can contact Chevat Kadisha and ask them how to do it. Any more questions? Yes.
Are you allowed to wash dishes on Shabbat?
You're allowed to wash dishes on Shabbat, but you're not allowed to use sponge to squeeze. So if you have those things that have holes in it, that it doesn't really get absorb the water, it just scrap the water, you're allowed. Everything that may get squeezed when you press on it, you're not allowed to squeeze on Shabbat. You're not allowed to do laundry on Shabbat, even when you have a stain on your shirt, to take a towel, wet it, and clean it, all kinds of laundry. You're not allowed to cut in measurement, you're not allowed to detach fruits from their energy, you're not allowed to cut nails because they suck from the body, their existence, you're not allowed to pull hair, not allowed to shave. All these things, there's a list of things you're not allowed to do on Shabbat. Not to write, not to erase writing, no electric whatsoever, not to create fire, of course not to drive a car. Once you start the car, it's like 5 million cigarettes in 1 second. As soon as you start the engine, tons of fire inside. And the Torah says, "Lo teva'aru esh bechol moshvotechem b'yom HaShabbat." And the Torah is until the end of time. It's never going to be expired. The Torah it's clearly says, "Lecha ulevanecha ad olam," for you and your children until the end of time. Do not create any fire, no matter where you live. In all moshvotechem, America, Europe, Africa, Israel, everywhere you are, on Shabbat, you're not allowed to create fire. Sometimes people come to me and they say to me, "Rabbi, I don't say that the Torah is not from God." Of course, even the Christians know, the Muslims know. Everyone knows the Jews got the Torah in a public event. To hide it, to deny it is not even clever. Of course, we got the Torah. My problem is with the oral Torah. Torah shebe'al peh that the rabbis made up. They add all kinds of restrictions, and this not allowed, and this is not. For that, I have a problem. So then I asked them, let me ask you a question. You keep Shabbat? He said, not what you mean, what the rabbi said, no. So you keep Shabbat according to the way the Torah says? Yes. I do what the Torah says. So I ask, do you light fire on Shabbat? Yes. But it's written in the Torah. You just said the Torah, you know it's from God. It's written in the Torah that someone that creates fire on Shabbat will suffer for eternity when he dies. The worst suffering you can imagine. That's what it says in the Torah. I did not write the Torah. I'm not here to scare you. I'm just here to tell you what's going to happen, whether you like it or not. It's going to happen. The question is, you want to do something about it, or you want to wait until it will happen to you? That's the question. If you're smart enough, you appreciate what I just told you. If you're not smart enough, you get angry at me. One way or the other, you're going to get there. And then you will remember, why didn't I listen to him? If it was my opinion, who am I? Should you listen to me? It's a miracle you're sitting here for an hour and listening to me. But I didn't come here to tell you my opinions in politics, or that I have a course that I want you to come and pay money. I didn't come to sell you any idea here. I'm not here to sell you a product or a telemarketing service. I'm here only for one reason. You are all Jews. We're all brothers and sisters. We come from one nation. We're all children of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Most of the Jews in the world are ignorant. Not bad, ignorant. There's a difference. Yes, there are also very bad people. I meet them all the time. Yes. But I'm not here to suspect that any one of you belong to that kind of people. No. Most of the Jews, at least 90% that I met in my life, they are not religious, not because they hate God, not because they are ungrateful, not because they're bad, only for one reason. They are totally ignorant. They never went to yeshiva, they didn't learn 20 years, they don't know what Gemara is, they don't know what it means, Chazal, they don't know what Shulchan Aruch is, they don't know how the Jews even got the Torah. They never read the Torah once in their life. They have a lot of things that they read on the news and listen to all kinds of atheists speaking, but they never really learned the basics. And I'm here, that's why I made a lot of CDs and DVDs. I cannot teach the whole world, obviously. Even this lecture, do you think I would come here just to speak to a group of people? Do I have time for this? The only reason I do it is for the internet. It's going to go online, it's going to be hundreds of thousands of views. That's the only thing. Now Hashem gave us the media. We must take advantage of it to get to every lost Jew all over the world. And Gentiles, righteous Gentiles, many of them leave Christianity by listening to these lectures. It opened up their head to see that they're idol worshippers and the Goyim not allowed to worship idols. So one good thing for sure will come out of this night. My hopes, and the Balabait here, arranged here today, because we care about you. We want you to finally understand your situation. You are in a test, you better get a good mark. You will fail the test, there are consequences. The consequences, unfortunately, are much more horrible than what you can imagine. If they wouldn't be, I wouldn't be here. One thing I promise you, that if the Torah would say, dear Jew, after you read my book that I gave you in Mount Sinai, and you saw all the promises that I made to you, and the reward that you're going to have in the next world, and how much I love and appreciate you when you listen to me and obey my rules, I allow you to do whatever you like. If you like my rules, keep them. And I will keep my share. You don't like it? No problem, no hard feelings. I'm not angry. Do whatever you like, no punishment, no nothing. One day you die, you become sand, end of story. You think I waste my time coming here? So you die, you become sand. So you didn't get the reward. It's not as critical. But now when I know that all these Jews that lives in illusion, like Goyim, eat whatever they want, Shabbat is no Shabbat, no tefillin, no nothing, no modesty, no keeping mikveh, the wife, living together, mamash, excuse my language, sometimes like animals, with no God, just like nature. No discipline, no thinking, what's the difference between me and the monkeys? I just became another animal. I live like animal, I eat whatever I see, I don't have any discipline, no system, no nothing, no spirituality in my life. So people like this, eventually they will end very badly. How can I ignore it? Do I even have permission to ignore a doctor that is on an airplane, and they announce someone is getting a heart attack, any doctor on an airplane, and he's drinking his whiskey there. His wife say, Moshe, heart attack. I'm on vacation now, leave me alone. And they will find out what will happen to this doctor. He lost his permit for life, he may even go to jail. But even if he didn't go to jail, for sure, doctors he can never be anymore. If they'll find out that was the case, right? Same thing me. How can I call myself rabbi or teacher or whatever I am if I'll see Jews that are going to destruction for eternity and I can care less about them? That's not only to me, it's applied to every rabbi, every teacher, every Jew that knows Torah. Doesn't have to be a rabbi. Every Bachur Yeshiva that has friends, cousins, neighbors that are not Shomer Shabbat, they eat whatever they want, they live with no discipline, no Torah, no connection to Hashem, no tefillah, no nothing. How can we even sleep at night? That's really the big question here. It's more a judgment for us than for you. Why? You grew up here, you grew up in Russia, you grew up I don't know where. You not necessarily knows. But not knowing the rules doesn't mean that you are not guilty. When a policeman pull you over somewhere and he said this is a reduced speed area, only 40, and you drove 60. 60 is not fast. Anywhere else. But over here, there was a sign, school, you didn't see, 25. And you drove 60, he can arrest you in some places. You then, what did I do? I didn't drive so fast. There's a sign over there, but I didn't know, I swear to you, I didn't know. Put your hands behind your back, give me your license, let's take his car. Not knowing doesn't change reality. A person didn't know it's not allowed to marry a non-Jewish woman. And he married her. And he has 4 kids. All 4 kids are not Jewish. 100% Goyim. One day he wakes up. Oh, I didn't know. What is it going to change now? You have 4 kids that are not your kids. You are now 50 and you don't have children. What do you mean? I spent $2 million on these kids so far. Schools, this, food. Very bad. God made the rules. Someone who marry a non-Jewish woman, the kids are not Jewish. They and their mother go to one world when they died, and you go to a whole different world. You came from different worlds, you go to different worlds. If it's the other way around, Jewish woman marry a non-Jew, the kids are Jewish. We need to know the rules. It's not the same. The kids always follow their mother because you can prove where they came from. If it will go by the father, you will never know about any person if he's a Jew or not. Because everyone has a doubt. How do you know if this is his real father? How do you know? Maybe she cheated. There's no way to know for sure by the father. Like the Arabs, very dumb. They go by the father, but you never know who the father is. You can only assume. You don't know who the father is. You always know who the mother is. She cannot hide that she gave birth. But the father, do you know how many millions of kids never met their father? Just last week I met one guy like this. Never saw his father in his life. Do you know how many like this I met? So what is he now, according to the Muslims? What is he? He doesn't know what he is. He will never know. Stupid. That's why you need to follow the divine, real divine laws. I promise you, give it a chance 3 months. Start to change. Don't go now home and forget this evening here. First of all, you have to know you're very lucky that you had this private session here, that you had an opportunity to find out about your situation right now. Most of the Jews in the world don't have this merit. So you have to feel very lucky. It's either because you have a holy, righteous grandparents that pray to Hashem to give you a chance to open up your eyes. It could be because of one great things that you did in your life. It could be because you are good people in general, and Hashem hates to see you, chas v'shalom, get destroyed eventually spiritually. So he gives you the opportunity, but I'm not going to be your babysitter. I'm not going to be able to follow you. That's why I make CDs. You download my app, Divine Information 2.0, free. Every day you get a new lecture on about the current events and what's happening in the world, about pride, about jealousy, about anger, about marriage, about raising children, about addictions, about Shabbat, about any topic you ever thought about. I promise you it's there. About the election of Donald Trump, about the Iran-Iraq, and Iran-Israel, about Obama the genius, about anything you can think of. Why when I say Obama the genius, everyone laughs? Why, it's not a genius, he went to Harvard. Tough, I guess they know something I don't know. But it's good to laugh a little bit, to break the ice. But please, please, I'm really serious with you. Don't just ignore it. Take this, listen to this lecture. This is an amazing film, The Purpose of Life. It explains this one, Torah and Science. I told you it was translated in 9 languages. 9, Russian, Hebrew, English, Spanish, Italian, French, Chinese, Czech, French, did I say French? So many languages. Why? They go in translated, free of charge. They ask permission. You give me permission to translate it? Why? Why do you need to translate it to Chinese? One guy said, I want to translate. He said, all right, there's hundreds of millions of idol worshippers. They don't need to know that they sin. It's also important in the world. Fine. Doesn't cost me anything. Let the goyim learn. Many of the Chinese people converted. I have few Chinese converts and Koreans in Israel, in Yerushalayim, with Gemara all day, learning in yeshiva. Left Singapore, all kinds of things. If the goyim listen to it and wants to convert and become kosher, righteous Jews, shame on us. We were already born to the royal family. You are a prince or princess, children of God. You have it on the shelf and you ignore it, and the Chinese or the Arab or the French or the German beg to convert. Do you know what nightmare they go through until they convert? If you read some of the emails I get, how much they beg. I leave everything, I come to New York, help me to convert, whatever it costs. I'll give the house to my wife, to the children, I give everything, I come. A person is 50 years old. He doesn't mind to start from zero. Just help me to be a Jew. And the Jews, very nice lecture. No, how did you like the lecture of the rabbi yesterday? Very interesting. He said a lot of things I never heard about. I didn't know that to break Shabbat is such a horrible crime. I didn't know it's a bigger punishment than to be a murderer. I never heard these things. So what are you going to do with your life? You know, I'm in the middle of college now. In 3-4 years, maybe I have time to worry about it. What about it? Listen, I'm not married now. It's difficult for me to be Shomer Shabbat. Excuses. I'm here. My business is open. I'm not married. I'm not this. I'm not in the mood. Not right now. Excuses you can find all the way from here to the end of the world. Do you really care about your future? I bet that each one of you care about his future. Person, why does he go to college? He's worried what's going to be his future. Person, why he's going to be tested by doctors from time to time? Because he's worried about his future. Why people go on dates? Because they're worried about their future. Why people work so hard and put money on the side? Because they're worried about the future. People go to college, they worry about the future. People learn a job, profession, they worry about the future. The eternal future, nobody worry about. The future of 20 years, you give your life for it. Future of eternity, if you be in a good place or in a bad place, somehow it doesn't bother you. Make sense or no? What do you think? So let's say you're going to be an engineer and you make 100,000 a year in the next 30 years. Baruch Hashem, you build a home, you married your children, you're happy now, you died. Okay. That's one achievement you had. You work hard, you became an engineer, it helped you in the next 40 years. That's it. And then you become sand, and the worms eat you up, and now your soul is on a trial. Being engineer is going to help you to go to heaven? No. Being a doctor will help you. Being a lawyer, being a judge in the Supreme Court of the United States, being the President of the United States is going to help you? Absolutely not. It doesn't matter your education. It doesn't matter your wealth. It doesn't matter your health. It doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. It doesn't matter how clever you are. None of it is matter. Only one thing it matters. You're righteous or wicked. That's it. Nothing else is in your hand. The day you came to the world, God decided if you're going to come in a body of a man or a body of a woman. He could have put that soul in a body of a woman. He could have put your soul in a body of a man. He can make you blonde. He can make you black hair. He can make you black person. He can make you white skin. That's up to him. Nobody asks you. He can make you born in Israel. He can make you born in New York or in Russia or who knows where. He can make you clever, smart, genius, very sharp brain. He can make you the dumbest person in the world. He can make you have healthy and strong life, or he can make you very sick and sickness and problems and who knows what. He can make you wealthy, he can make you poor. Nothing is in your hand. Don't think that education brings money. It's nonsense. A lot of great educated people barely have what to eat. And a lot of the biggest fools own businesses and real estate. They don't even know to write one sentence in English. I meet them all the time and I wonder, a guy like this became such a tycoon? Yes, and Hashem wants. A lot of football players, baseball players, Israeli soccer players. They didn't go to school, some of them, bichlal. Here in America, you still go to school. Supposedly you're in school because they need you for the basketball team. The dumbest people on earth. They know how to kick a ball. There used to be a player in Argentina, Maradona, the dumbest person on earth. The best player ever played. Made tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Why? He knew how to jump and dribble the ball. Mike Tyson, you heard about him? The super genius, Mike Tyson. $30 million in 10 minutes he was making. More than any doctors in America will make all over his life. He gave some punches in the Bronx, whatever. So he became a billionaire, or Muhammad Ali, or the rest of those geniuses. Money doesn't, Shlomo HaMelech wrote, Lo lachachamim lechem. Wisdom doesn't bring wealth. Dumb people and smart people have wealth. Depend what Hashem wants. So look at this. Nobody asks you if you be a man or woman, smart or stupid, rich or poor, healthy or suffering from sicknesses. No one asks you where you will be born. Nobody asks you anything. It was all decided for you, except one thing. To be righteous or wicked, it's 100% in your hand. And that's the purpose of your life. And that's why I made this film for. It's not from my opinion. By the way, everything I say here, it's all come from the Torah. Aval, some of the things that I say, even without Torah, you could have come to the right conclusion by analyzing the life. I'm different than the animals, yes. I have abilities, I'm spiritual, I have a soul, I'm judging, we judge ourselves for murdering, for raping, for stealing. We are different than the animals. That we understand our purpose. But you don't need to be such a genius. You read in the Torah. You don't even need to read the Torah. I made you a DVD. It will teach you about life. Now it's your opportunity. If you don't do a change tonight, not tomorrow morning, tonight, by tomorrow morning, I promise you 80% of what you heard here, you won't remember. You won't remember. If you decide, that's it, I gotta change. I'm gonna start keeping Shabbat, this coming Shabbat. Rabbi, what do I have to do? I don't know how to keep Shabbat. I know not to light fire, I can put a hot tray, I can warm the food, I know I cannot use the car. Fine, these things I know, but there's a lot of other, you don't need to know everything. It's a process of years. Just get on a train to the right direction. After a few years, you're gonna get there. Nobody became righteous overnight. But I want you to know one thing. If tonight you make a decision, I'm going to change. I'm going to start eating kosher. I'm going to stop dating the goya or the goy. I'm going to stop stealing in a business. I'm going to stop lying all day. I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to be a better wife. I'm going to be a better husband. All these things the Torah required. In Chas v'Shalom, you died before Shabbat. You didn't even keep one Shabbat. But the decision you made tonight, that's it. No more nonsense. I'm going to start listening to lectures every day. I'm going to start changing. Like more than 1 million Baalei Tshuva, people that made Tshuva, repentance, all over the world. A lot of Jews became religious in the last 30 years. And God forbid you didn't even make it to Shabbat. Your entire judgment is different. Why? You accepted to do Tshuva. The Torah says, "V'shavta ad Hashem Elokecha, v'shamata bekolo." You will return all the way to your God and listen to Him. And what comes right after that? And God will have mercy on you, and save you and gather you and collect you from where you are. Wonderful blessing. Im bechukotai telechu, if you follow my laws, I will bless you. No one will be barren. The enemies will not be able to touch you. I will bring blessing in your land. I will make peace in the land. Read in the Torah. And if not, I'm going to send the Arabs after you. They will stab you, and bad animals will be after you, and women will be barren, and they will be suffering, and the enemies that live among you will go higher and higher, and you will go lower and lower. Read in the Torah. Hundreds of prophecies. After you read the Torah for the first time, your hair falls off. So how can it be? How come no one ever told us all these things that are happening to us now? It's all written in the Torah. With the Arabs, with the world, all of them now wanting Jerusalem. They're all claiming that there was no Bet HaMikdash over there, that the Palestinians were always there. What all these things that are happening here? It doesn't make any sense. Millions, billions of people gather together with conspiracy and lies to change history and the fact against the Jews. It's written in the Torah. What do you want? If it would not be written in the Torah, then you have to worry. But now, soon the Messiah would come, there will be the salvation, there will be many great things happening in the world. The question is, are we going to survive to see it or not? That's the question. If we'll be Shomer Shabbat, if we'll be eating kosher, if the women will dress modestly, no sex crimes, no Lashon Hara, no stealing, none of these things, then of course we will survive. If we're going to be monsters the way we live, and we're going to continue to rebel against God every day, of course we're going to pay the price. What do you expect? Like in everything else in life, the consequences will happen. The question is which ones? Good direction or bad direction? Any last questions before we finish? Because I have to run in a few minutes. Everyone is in shock? Very good. Mission accomplished. Thank you very much. Please take free CDs. Thank you very much for having us. Shavua Tov.